Today, we're going to do something a little bit different than we normally do. We got some information for you. Kind of want to break it down. There's been some coins that have been pretty hot the last few weeks, and we want to kind of break down which ones they are. Are they going to continue? And what's happening as we look for the next week. But the first coin I want to talk about, which is going to be a little strange and probably throw you off a little bit, is going to be FARTCOIN, right? And again, I'm not in love with these crazy memes, but FARTCOIN was one of the first coins to really rip and go on a massive tear as a joke coin, and people couldn't believe it. Of course, it got sold off with the whole market tipped back down, but it's been on a tear. And you can see the last 3 weeks, FARTCOIN has gone all the way from 40 cents all the way back to $1.21, basically $1.21. That's a 3x for FARTCOIN. So you're watching FARTCOIN continuing to rip, which is unbelievable, right? And is it sustainable, though? What you really want to do is look at the daily and see how the daily is hanging out right there on that near that 21-day moving average in a bit of a flag. This suggests that FARTCOIN's likely going to continue for the next week. I would not be surprised if 2 weeks from now, maybe even less than that, FARTCOIN's somewhere at $1.88 and ripping back closer to its all-time high. Looks like it's going to surpass it and maybe continue. Again, I don't even own any of this coin, but I just wanted to put this on your radar. FARTCOIN is definitely a coin you want to look at going into next week. May even be a play tonight into tomorrow on that daily time frame, the way it's getting close to the 21, way it has previous support as resistance. You may want to take a look at FARTCOIN going into the week. Bit of a long cup with a handle there too as well for FARTCOIN. So that's one of the strongest coins in the game in the last week. Again, as this week ends, we also want to take a look at SWI, one of the hottest coins in the game. You can also see, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green weeks, one little indecision doji there, but for the most part, absolutely beautiful. This looks like it's going to go sideways, I'd say, for the next 4 to 5 days, maybe uptrending. All we want to do is make sure SWI stays above the 200 MA as the 21 comes into price action, and we get a monster move to 536. So this is what I'm looking at for SWI to get a beautiful move to $5.38. And so that's my target. I'd be looking for an entry coming up in the week ahead. So this week, I want to kind of get you ready for what could be hot next week. And you want to pay attention. You want to be ready now for when things start to move. You can't just jump in and try to grab green candles. You want to really start getting ready, setting your alerts, and getting squared away. SWI looks like it's going to be a big winner into the week, and I wouldn't be surprised if we go above $5 in the coming 1 to 3 weeks at the most for SWI. So SWI is definitely something you want to kind of get started on and take a look at. SOL is also moving and showing signs of life. A lot of those smaller SOL coins are starting to bounce. We talked about SOL right there at 141. It broke out to 157. Let's take a look at where we see SOL now. What I'd like to look at is SOL on the weekly. And you can see we've had 3 white soldiers, 3 beautiful weeks in a row for SOL. And it definitely broke out of this trend line. You can break that as the measured move, grab that. And that suggests that we're going to go somewhere at about $2.74 for Solana. Big resistance right there at 178, right? But once we get above that, look for the retest and a continuation. I see SOL continuing to go to the upside too as well. However, I'd like to watch it here on the 4-hour time frame. We're also watching Bitcoin on the 4-hour. Bitcoin could play either way. Like, there could be a right shoulder here for Bitcoin, similar idea. So we're watching this. But if you can get the breakout and consolidate sideways, so Bitcoin and SOL basically doing the same thing. I'm expecting a bounce today, but we could end up making a right shoulder. We'd like to see a bounce and consolidation. We end up consolidating into here. SOL is likely going to take its next big move to the upside. And with the way liquidity is flowing into the market, it's more likely we're going to get the move to 189 for Solana. So I see a move for Solana too. We will have to watch out for that right shoulder, though, before we can get a further move to the upside. We take a look at Bitcoin in the all-time history index and just take a look at what's going to happen for this weekly close. Hopefully by later on today, that will have broken out to the upside. But we take a look here at the weekly. And tonight, what you really, what we want to see here is make sure that we did close that candle well above 93,003, 93,400. That's all that matters to me. If we're below that tonight, there's a chance we could go lower to 86,000. So you want to make sure that this candle is going to close above 93. I'd say 93.3, 93.4. Double check your chart right now. Take a look at that. We're above that on that close. We're in good shape for continuation throughout the week. We end up below that, we may struggle. Right, so it's a very key idea that we close a candle above weekly resistance. That's at 93,400, I'll call it, for Bitcoin. So that's going to be the next key level that you want to look at too as well. Now, is gold going to take a hit? A lot of people have been stressing gold. I see gold probably pulling back. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but gold was on a massive tear. Funny, now it's like it actually may get a bit of a bounce, but I still see on the macro, if we take a look at the daily, I see the macro, it could go sideways. I just don't see a massive pump just yet. So we could go sideways just like Bitcoin, but I just don't see a massive pump. I see more sideways price action for Bitcoin and for gold, right? In the next couple days. Looks like they're both, if anything, gold could take a bigger hit because when you look at gold on the weekly, it's just away from the 21. Bitcoin's just tapping that 21 and getting ready. So it tells me that gold may be in for a pullback or a sideways price action, and maybe even for about, 2 to 3 months. It had a massive rally. It looks like it has to consolidate before it can get ready for its next big up. So if you're huge on gold, you're trading gold, it looks to me like it could be time to take some profits on gold and move them into another asset. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I say and do should be taken as financial advice, but that's one thing that I am looking at for gold on the macro level. So I wanted to kind of break down what was hot. I didn't want to waste a lot of your time. Just kind of get ready for the week ahead and see where we're going. We're also going to take a look at the Forex Factory and just see where, if there's any, red folders, anything coming our way that we want to pay attention to. So that's something that we're also going to look at. Let me get the calendar up for you, and we'll take a look at the Forex Factory on the week. So we're going to have, Monday the 28th, Tuesday the 29th. Okay, nothing crazy. We do have JOLTS job openings, which does, affect the market. 10 a.m. on Tuesday. I definitely would look for that. That could cause a little bit of a jolt in price action, the JOLT jobs opening, so to speak, right? Pretty funny. Keep going. Wednesday, dad jokes, right? Wednesday, we have unemployment cost index, the average GDP quarter over quarter, which, is big. And then there's personal income month over month. Interesting. So we have a lot of data actually coming in. We have Wednesday at 8:30 and 10 o'clock too. So that could move the market. They're not as red, and then unemployment claims Thursday at 8:30 in the morning. So next week, be careful. And then non-farm unemployment change too, and the unemployment rate. So Friday at 8:30, Thursday at 8:30, and Wednesday 8:30 to 10. So expect some volatility. We're definitely going to get some information. And then even Tuesday, the jobs opening at 10 a.m. So I would kind of get ready. We have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday volatility events that could be affecting the market. And then look, M3 money supply year over year. I want to take a look at that. And I want to see if that's up or down. Even though it's Europe, I do want to take a look at that. That could have an effect because I want to see how much money is flowing into the markets and into the world markets. TAI was one of the biggest coins too to rip. It went from 2 cents all the way to 15 cents. That's about a 7x. Imagine 7xing your money in just a few days. Unbelievable. But now the pullback is apparent. We take a look at the daily. And what I want you to understand is whenever you pump hard like this, you really want to be pulling your fibs. You want to be respecting the distance you are from the 21-day moving average. Now, price action could pump. I've seen it. Anything can happen, but it's likely that if it does pump, it just has to flag out in some way, shape, or form. Let that 21 come closer to price before it can pump. It's very unlikely TIA can rip without the 21 getting closer. I've seen it happen, but it's just very, very rare. Like here, we kind of had a massive tear there. But as we kind of pulled away, you'll watch the smaller time frames kept flagging out. And at least it probably pulled the 21 up with it as it went. But wow, TIA has been known to go on these massive runs. The last run it went on was 13 cents all the way to 45. And man, to be able to get it down low there at 2 cents, unbelievable if you think about it. And this is a coin that's backed by the Solana Foundation. I think it's going to do numbers. If Sol does well, how does TAI not do well? So to me, it was a no-brainer. It is what it is. We focused on it heavily throughout the week, and it looks like it's going to continue to go. I see a 26 cent coming, and just a little more consolidation for TAI. I think I said TIA, TAI, right? TAI. TARS AI there. And I like TARS a lot. It's a good company, good project, and I think it can do numbers. I don't see it rug pulling or anything like that. And again, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I say and do should take it as financial advice, but I like the project, and I can see it doing numbers. So back there for Bitcoin, what we want to see is you're consolidating throughout this week. If we have broken down since then, no good, but we should be right around here as this weekly candle comes up and we get ready for our next bigger move for Bitcoin. If that plays out, you can expect Bitcoin to break out literally in the next 2 to 3 weeks and head up to $104,000, somewhere even by May 2nd or 3rd. So that's my update for Bitcoin on your Sunday night analysis, just kind of fast and down and dirty, giving you coins that I would look at, ideas that I'm looking at, and then setups that I would get ready for the week ahead, and things to look at that are going to affect your trading, your trading schedule. There's going to be volatility, as I showed you on the Forex Factory. Write those things down, pay attention, and I'll be back tomorrow for another beautiful video. Everybody, I love you. Thank you so much for being here. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You can find out when I post my next video. Remember, if you came to the channel, then you're already doing the right thing. Crypto is life.